There's something unsettling about going home after you've fallen apart. It's that strange mix of comfort and dread, like walking through your childhood bedroom and realizing none of the posters on the wall recognize who you've become. Night in the Woods, in my opinion of course, captures that feeling better than almost any other modern narrative game that I've played recently. And it doesn't do that with any big plot twists or big spectacles, but with the quiet horror of returning to a place that kept living without you. In this video, that I'm definitely not making for my English 237 class, I want to dig into how the game pulls that off. Emotionally, narratively, and maybe a little too personally. From the first moment May steps off the bus, the game makes it clear that Possum Springs isn't waiting to embrace her. The streetlights feel harsher, the conversations feel shorter, and for a story that's often remembered for its ghostly subplot, its real power comes from how painfully real its opening hours are. This isn't a horror game about disappearing townspeople, it's a horror game about disappearing time, about losing years you can't explain, and coming home with nothing but a half-formed apology you can't even say out loud. May keeps trying to frame her return as a break, a reset, a vague, things didn't work out. But the silence between her words is much louder than any explanation she gives. There's a reason why she hesitates every time someone asks what's happened. There's a reason that she hides behind jokes so aggressively it almost reads like self-defense. And the game's brilliance lies in how it forces the player to sit in that discomfort instead of offering easy answers. The central tragedy of Night in the Woods is that May returns expecting permanence. She expects her old life to unpause the moment she walks back into it. But Possum Springs is a place that's been quietly eroding long before she ran away to college. And her friends have been shaped by that erosion in ways she can't pretend didn't happen. May wants childhood back. Her friends want survival. And those opposing desires create this friction that the game never fully resolves, because it doesn't really need to. That's the point. Growing up isn't about achieving some ideal version of adulthood. It's about realizing that the people you love grew in directions you didn't witness, and now you're trying to reconnect the dots like an outsider to your own history. May's old friendships becomes mirrors that she didn't ask to look into. They reflect everything she avoids telling herself. 1. That she's stuck in an emotional stasis. 2. That disappearing didn't freeze the world around her. 3. That everyone has been fighting their own invisible battles. And 4. And that she hasn't even confronted her own. Every route you take, Bee, Greg, or even spending more time with Angus and Germ, becomes a way for May to brush up against different versions of adulthood, and uses them as emotional autopsies. It turns small conversations into the kind that stay in your brain years later because they say something painfully honest about who you were at that age. And the more time May spends with each friend, the harder it becomes to ignore that she's the one who changed the least, because she's the only one who ran away from the world instead of confronting it. Up to this point, Night in the Woods has been about emotional unease more than real danger. But then, out of seemingly nowhere, the game throws a severed arm in your path. Your whole playthrough until now has been this slow simmer of interpersonal tension, and then suddenly, you're staring at a dismembered limb, like you accidentally walked into the wrong genre. The kidnapping behind the diner hits with the same abrupt force. 1 second, May's having a normal Heartfest festival night, and the next, she's watching a figure drag a person by their neck. And when I saw this, my brain immediately went into, okay, so that happened. It's unsettling, not because it's dramatic, but because it feels accidentally witnessed, like May was not supposed to see that part of the world. The deeper you go into the story, the more Possum Springs starts acting like a place where everyone decided that denial is easier than truth. The missing posters for Casey are everywhere, but it's like the town collectively agreed to not even say his name too loudly. Which brings us to what the cult really is. People often talk about the cult like it's this huge twist, but the twist isn't there's a cult. The twist is that the cult is boring, depressing, ordinary. Just a group of old people who love their town so much that they decided the only way to save it was through violence. They're clearly not masterminds. They're not cosmic prophets. They're losers with a god complex and a tunnel. And Casey Hartley, he deserved so much better. Which makes it so much harder when you realize exactly what those guys did. May's world doesn't fall apart because the universe is cruel. It falls apart because people are. That's why the cosmic dream creature telling her she matters feels so strangely moving. May's been spending the entire game trying to prove to herself that she's real, that her life isn't pointless. This is the part where the whole game finally clicked for me. And watching May try to function while her brain keeps making the world feel distant, not dangerous, not even dramatic, just off, hit way harder than I expected. The game never treats her like she's broken. It treats her like someone doing her best to navigate a reality that sometimes slips out of focus. And honestly, that felt comforting in a way I didn't expect from a game with cartoon animals. May's friendships aren't perfect. Her decisions aren't great. Her mental health isn't neat or aesthetic or tragic. She's just human. Messy. Real. Trying, failing, trying again. And that's what makes the ending where her friends so impactful. They don't fix their trauma. They don't defeat the cult in some epic showdown, besides maybe slamming an elevator here or there. They basically just survive long enough to see tomorrow, which brings us to the line that the entire story quietly builds towards. At the end of everything, hold on to anything. It's not hopeful in a cheesy way, it's hopeful in the way living sometimes is, where you grab whatever keeps you here, even if it's small, even if it's messy, and even if it's just the people who sit next to you at band practice, or the friends you grew up with, even though you all turned out differently. Night in the Woods doesn't tell you everything's going to be okay. It tells you that being alive is hard, it's confusing, and it's definitely weird, but it's still worth sticking around for the parts that make you feel real. And for me, that mattered.